Welcome back, boys and girls. I thought today we would start with a Grade 4, Chapter 11, Angles Review. As you can see, we've learned a lot about angles in the last 5 lessons. But let's start out. I'm going to begin with us by taking a look at the essential question for our entire chapter. How can you measure angles and solve problems involving angle measures? Great question, but I'm going to break it down for you. So let's start out by taking a look at 3 questions that will help us answer this chapter essential question. Here's our first one. How can you use fractions and degrees to understand angle measures? Well, I'm going to take us back to chapter 11, lesson 1. Let's take a look at this fraction circle. One of the first things that we did is we took a circle and we divided that circle in half right through the center point on a horizontal and a vertical line. And we decided that they were, well, let's hope that these are pretty equal. These are 4 equal points. So right through the vertex point in the center of the circle. And we said that in the center of the circle we formed 4 right angles. We know that a right angle equals 90 degrees. Therefore, if we take a circle using the vertex point right in the center of the circle and we draw a vertical and a horizontal line through that center point, we create 4 right angles. So we can create a fraction. 1/4 of a circle equals 90 degrees. Here's how we're taking our fraction knowledge and we're equating it to our degree measurement for a circle. Let's try another one. Here is a picture of a pizza divided into 8 equal parts. I want you to look at these 8 equal parts and trace the cutting lines of one of the pieces of the pizza. Now, what is the name of the figure you just made by tracing the cutting lines of one piece of pizza? Well, let's take a look. If you trace this line and then this line, what was the figure that you just made by tracing the cutting lines of one piece of pizza? Did you say an angle? Yep. If you said an angle, you would be correct. Now let's take a look at another question that we can ask. As we take a look at all of the angles together, we're going to form the equal parts or fractions of this circle. How many equal fractions make up this circle? Well, if you said 8, you would be correct. What is the fraction that names each equal part? Yes, the fraction that names each equal parts is 1/8. Now, I want you to look at this one more time. 1/8 is the fraction that names each equal part. How many equal parts do we have? 8 equal parts. What is the name of the figure that you just made by tracing the cutting lines of the pizza? An angle. Do you see the relationship between the fractional parts of a circle and the angle? Great job. Let's keep going. All right, here's a question for you. If 1/4 of the circle measures 90 degrees, what does 1/8 of the circle measure? Let's take a close look at our circle. I took some of the lines out, so I'm only working with the upper right-hand corner of our circle. We notice that there's one 90-degree angle, and at that vertex, we know that there are 4 right angles. What happens when we take a 90-degree angle and cut it in half? Oh, good job. 1/8 of a circle. That looks horrible. Must measure half it. Oh my goodness, Mrs. Kennedy. Must measure half of that 90 degrees, or 45 degrees. Good job. So we're taking a look at the fractional parts of our circle, and we're trying to figure out the measurement, and we're relating fractional parts to angles. Good job. Let's go on to our next question. Our second question was, how can you use a protractor to measure and classify angles? Well, lesson 11.3 was all about that. So let's take a look. Here's our protractor. And as we can see, we have a straight edge along the bottom. There is a spot for us right in the center. There's a hole right there where we place our vertex point of our angle, and then we can begin to measure. We want to make sure we're looking at the outer, oops, I'm sorry. We want to make sure that once we have our vertex point placed in the center point of the straight edge, we want to look at whether we're using the interior or the exterior circular, interior exterior numbers. We want to make sure that we are beginning our measurement at 0. We want to know whether our angle is opening to the right or to the left. In this case, angle XYZ is opening to the right. So should we use the interior or the exterior curve to measure our angle? Oh, you're right. Use the interior line. Hold on. As we start here at 0, we have an anchor ray, YZ. YZ should be on the straight edge with the vertex point right there in the circle. Now we're going to start our movement around the edge to measure at 0. We're 0, 10, 20, 30. Oh, look, our line intersects our protractor somewhere between 20 and 30 degrees. Now, in this particular situation, looks like it's about halfway between 20 and 30. On the protractor that you have in school, you'll notice that on the outer edge, there are some tick marks between that will allow us to count exactly how many degrees. In this situation, it looks like angle XYZ is, yes, you're correct, 25 degrees. Using the protractor is going to become important because we have to remember that we have to place our vertex point of our angle in the spot provided along the straight edge. We have to make sure that we're using either the inner or the outer edge of numbers. And we do that by looking at whether our angle opens to the right or to the left. We want to make sure that we have a nice clear anchor ray on the straight edge so that we can take a look at the amount of turning between one ray and the other ray. And we want to look to make sure that our measurements are clear. Good job. Our protractor can help us find the measurement of our angle, and then we can classify. So the angle XYZ can be classified as what type of angle? You're getting good at this. You're right. It is an acute angle. Why? Because it is less than 90 degrees. All right, boys and girls, let's go on to our third question. How can an equation help you find the measurement of an angle? Let's take a look at the diagram that's right here. How can we find the measure of the unknown angle? Okay, think about that for a minute. Think about what you know. Think about what you think you see. Okay. An equation can help find the measure of the unknown angle. We're going to model this to write the actual equation. 90 degrees plus x equals, yes, that looks like 180 degrees, a straight angle. I think that one was pretty simple. Let's go try one with a model now. All right, so let's take a look at the figure that we have here. The question I'm going to ask here is, how many degrees does the unknown angle measure? And as I look at my angle figure, what I'm going to do is choose a strategy. The strategy that I'm going to use to figure out the adjacent angle or the adjoining angle measure is to draw a diagram. By drawing the diagram, I should be able to come up with a way to create an equation that will help me answer my question, how many degrees does the unknown angle measure? Let's see what we can do here. I know that one angle is 58 degrees, and my adjoining angle or my adjacent angle, which is right next to it, I'm going to call x because that's the unknown. I know that my entire angle is 90 degrees. So I want you to think about this. 58 plus what number is equal to 90? 58 degrees plus what number is equal to that is what my bar model is representing. Okay. Another way to consider it would be that 90 minus 58 is equal to what number? Oops, let me spell that correctly. That's another way to think about my model. So let's go ahead and create an equation. I can write 58 degrees plus x equals 90 degrees, or I can say 90 degrees minus 58 degrees equals angle x. I'm going to go ahead and let you solve that. Why don't you solve and tell me, what does x equal? Hopefully what we can see here is that I can draw a bar model, and that will show the relationship between the whole, the given angle measure, and the unknown angle measure. In this way, the bar model will help me to be able to write an equation to find the unknown angle. Remember to use a symbol to stand for the unknown angle measure in your equation. X marks the spot. Let's move on. All right, boys and girls, so here are the practice problems. The first one I'd like you to do is to create a problem to show how to use fractional parts of a circle to measure angles. The second one is going to be create an angle figure with an unknown angle. Don't forget to use your protractor. Your classmate will solve it during the next class using the strategy, draw a diagram. That's it for now. Enjoy. See you in the morning.